Hi Cancer, welcome to Sugar Free. This is your Q4 reading for 2023. What I've got here is the Ancient Italian Tarot. I've been working with this deck for a good a decade with the deck. And then I've got the Rider-Waite Minor Arcana over here split into its suits. Everything's shuffled. So what I'm going to do is pull three major arcana cards, and I'm going to build the reading off of that, and I will clarify each of those major arcana cards. I might use some oracle cards as well. I'll clarify each of the major arcana with one from the pentacles, one from the wands, one from the swords, and one from the cups from this Rider-Waite here. So that's what's going to happen. So let's have one last shuffle. It's a general reading. I mean, it's not like a love reading or a money reading or whatever. I mean, let's face it, most of them are love readings, aren't they? Oh dear, rightly so. I'm a Buddhist, right? And one of the teachers I'm connected to is reputed to have said, if you want pain, have a relationship. So with that said, let's get ahead with your Q4 reading, October, November and December of 2023. Let's go. Okay, we got Strength in the reverse. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Far from it. We've got the Lovers in reverse. Oh, and we've got Temperance. Okay. Oof. Well, some sort of lasting choice either hasn't been made or has been made, or it either hasn't been made in the present or it has been made in the past and it's changed things. And this column here is like the hidden energy, this middle column. This column here is more sort of the way things appear to be, the sort of the immediate kind of energetic surroundings of the situation. This card is the wider energy and sort of more a wider perspective on this. And this is like the hidden energy. This is what we don't see. Okay, so this is what the underlying, the undercurrent of the situation. So never fear, dear Cancer, never fear, because the overarching energy here is temperance. It's beautiful, it's balanced, it's relaxed self-control, temperance, and real kind of devotion to something. I mean, look at the way she's looking at that, at what she's doing, and rightly so. I mean, you know, she's not spilling a drop between those two things, and she's standing perfectly still and sort of moving, standing perfectly still and moving. She's moving this fluid from one side to the other. This is a kind of, I don't know, it's like tides going from one side to the other, but it's stable. There's movement in this stability, and there's stability surrounding the movement. Okay, and it's controlled and it's contained. That's absolutely beautiful. But we're coming into the reading here with Strength in the reverse. The Strength card for me is the card of getting a grip of the id, okay, the sacral chakra, and having self-control. And it feels like you don't have self-control. It feels like this beast just sort of keeps coming up, you know, and you can't get a grip of it and control it and bring strength to bear on it. It's a wonderful energy, but here it is in the reverse. But I rather so it feels like well, I was just going to say, I rather think you don't need to sort of worry about this, even though there might be a feeling of things being somewhat out of control, because the angel of temperance is in perfect stability here. So let's look at this. We need to address this incredibly complex card, the Lovers in the reverse. When I pull this, it's like, oh God, how long's the reading going to be? Okay, because there's so much going on in this card. But I sometimes refer to this card as the you can't have your cake and eat it card. Yet some choices in life are irrevocable, and they change everything. One little choice, things turning on a sixpence, can just change the whole rest of your life. And what this card is really about is what motivates us to make those sorts of changes, those sorts of decisions. This card used to be called the Choice. And the motivation we see very clearly is this little cherub up the top. This is just sort of irrational desire, right? And that just happens in life sometimes. You know, you just want something or you want someone, and there's no flipping common sense to it at all. It's completely impracticable, but you just want, you know, the heart wants what the heart wants. And that's what this is about. Okay. But it's in the reverse and it's in the hidden energy. So, yeah, things feel, I would think perhaps there's a feeling of being out of control, because there's a sense that you have to sort of choose something. You have to jump one way or the other in a particular situation. And what the Temperance card is telling me is that is not the case. This is not a binary. There's a very binary nature to this. But the fact that it's in the reverse and in the hidden energy shows it's something that's occupying your mind a lot, the notion of this. And that's what's leading to this sense of feeling out of control. We could also read this, do this 3-card spread here in terms of October, November, December. And there is something to me, for me, sort of, oh, anyway, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, complete sidetrack. Bear with, as they say. No, there's this feeling of being sort of disarmed and incapacitated by this notion that one has to choose one way or the other on something. I know I'm being terribly vague, but I'm trying to keep this general, and I try to sort of cast a wide perspective when I do these readings. So yeah, that's what I'm going, but it's all good. It's all good. Let's start clarifying. Okay, let's make sure I've got these in the right order. Yes. The Ace of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, the Eight of Swords. That's hardly surprising. I was saying about this feeling, wasn't I? This feeling of things being sort of out of control. She feels out of control in all that controlledness, but it's just ridiculous. It's just like a story. It's a story she's telling herself there. You know, she can easily move herself out of this. This is like self-generated worry. This is self-generated, it's squabbling. It's just internal squabbling. And not, you know, the key thing, or one of the key things about the Five of Pentacles is, the Five of Wands, Freudian slip, is that all of these figures here are of equal stature. I mean, none of them is particularly stately, but they're all like on the same level. They're all about the same age. They're all about the same size, and they've all got the same sort of so-called weapon. And they're just having a sort of, it's like play fighting. But, you know, someone really could get bruised rather badly with one of those sticks. The Ace of Pentacles, I mean, my God, You are in so much better a position than you realise. I mean, look, Temperance as the overall energy, beautiful. And Cups, 10 of Cups. Okay, listen, you've got the Ace of you've got the Ace of Pentacles there. There's something, there's some sort of fairy tale kind of fable sort of energy to this, and some sort of, it's like a nice place to hide the idea of this. It's not this or this, okay? It's not happy ever after or like endless worry and like squabbling. It's not either or. That's this binary thing again. And when I first pulled this, I really wanted to link it to Temperance, but you know, it's hardly surprising because it's really positive. But there's spiritual wealth in this, like underlying all of this. But you may not see it yet because this energy doesn't move fast. All right, it doesn't move fast. Okay, let's continue. Lovers in reverse. Okay, we've got the Knight of Pentacles now. The Ace of Wands. Wow. The Queen of Swords. And the Knight of Cups. Okay, this kind of choice business, that you're burdened with this idea that it's binary and that either everything's going to be brilliant or everything's going to be like rubbish, depending on what you choose. And being like up in your head about it, as they say. It's been around possibly for a long time. And I think this is really strange, but what I'm getting off this Ace of Wands here, I think you've actually done quite well out of it. I think you've actually like built quite a lot. I'm seeing this in a kind of retrospective way. And this, they're both kind of present perfect tenses. This has been going on for a long time. You have kind of not profited out of it, but you've built a life with it. You've built a life with it. Okay. Yeah, but it's time for the snicker snack. It's time for the snicker snack, and a more kind of, sorry, that's nothing to do with cookies or sweets or anything. That's to do with the Jabberwocky. The Vorpal blade went snicker snack. Oh, I can't remember the name of that. Is it Lewis Carroll? Can't remember the name of the writer now. But yeah, a slice, a kind of, yeah. One swift blow from that Vorpal blade can cut through to a new paradigm of, I would say, a wider sense of generosity. Because this, I feel, is very internal. It's like an internal vision that you have. But this widens out, the Knight of Cups here, widens out the emotional energy. You know, he just brings the cup. That's his job. It's not his job to choose to whom he brings the cup. He just brings the cup. And maybe this little cherub up the top here, maybe the kind of unreasonableness of desire, the inconvenience often of desire, and just the impossibility of the fulfillment of it. Maybe that is what's kept you in this dualistic energy. Just saying. But when the Queen of Swords like wields that blade, it brings in the space for, yeah, a more sort of democratic, less self-focused. And I'm not saying about like sharing the love all around. What I'm saying is that it's not only you. who has this dream. Everybody has this dream, and everybody's desires are, for the fact of being desires, kind of equal. And you know, you might not agree with them, but you've got to respect their presence and their existence, and then take your choice about whether you want to deal with something or not. That's a far more sort of like open-minded thing than sort of not really engaging with the fact of other people's emotional existence and focusing it all on this kind of dream, and not living that dream, but experiencing having that dream in a binary, like opposite nature to this like really unpleasant energy of the Eight of Swords and the Five of Wands. You know, things can be much more open for you, much more open as this liquid. That's the thing. There are two vessels and it's constantly moving. It's not stopped up like in a clay pot with a flipping great big like wodge of cork in the top. It's not stopped up. It's not stagnant. It's moving. But as I say, there's stability within the movement and movement within the stability. It's just gorgeous. I almost don't want to put on it, but I'm going to. Yeah, harvest time. Harvest time. And goodness me, everything's shuffled. But I mean, the reading I did for Gemini, I believe, I think it was the one for Gemini, had this combination of the set. I'm not in the same positions, but the Seven of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. That Ace of Pentacles is on that tree and it's harvest time. They are ripe. They're ripe. No way. I had that as well. I've shuffled these. Knight of Wands now. Okay, but it's different energy. It was the Gemini reading yesterday. Right, and now we've got the King of Swords. Or the Gemini reading I recorded yesterday. So, okay, and the Eight of Cups. Now, the Queen and the King of Swords, you'd say, well, what's the difference? They've both got this sword. But she's still negotiating. This raised hand here shows that there's interaction with some off-camera entity who she's either beckoning towards her or kind of making some sort of suggestion or offer, maybe even. Whereas the King of Swords, his word is final. His word is final. And then it's sayonara, baby. So what from? And it might be quite a public thing. It might be something that concerns people beyond simply your private affairs and perhaps one other person. Because this is a very visible figure here, the Knight of Wands. So, this this harvest, this Knight of Pentacles finally turning up, right? He picked it off there and he's been transporting it. So this is sort of moving backwards, this Pentacle story. So we've got a lot of really interesting dualities going on here, not necessarily binary ones. But there's so much stable energy in this column here. Temperance itself, the Seven of Pentacles, the King of Swords. Even this, the Eight of Cups, is very kind of quiet, isn't it? It's a very quiet energy. There's no performance here. But here there is, and that suggests to me that, as I say, this might be wider news simply for you. I'm going to pull. I'm going to go and get my oracle decks. Hold on a sec. I'm going to pull an oracle card. I'm sorry, I should have prepared this earlier, but I've just moved desks. So things were still where they had been, right? I'm going to pull one from The Wild Unknown Archetypes. Okay, now there is a guidebook, and you know I've looked at it, but I like to just do these things kind of intuitively, as they say, and sort of check the symbolism of the card for myself. So yeah, it's like boxes within boxes within boxes, this oracle. So there it is. Oops. By Kim Krantz, the wonderful Kim Krantz. So I'm going to open this case, and I'm going to pick one. There's just, look at the size of that deck. It's huge. So I'm literally going to, no, I was going to shut my eyes, but I'm not going to. Okay, I know which one. No. Thought I did. Okay, I can see him. I'm going to pull two. Or maybe three. That was one, but it kind of was, but kind of wasn't. So we'll stick it over here for column one. Okay, this must be getting really dull for you now. Sorry. Okay, there's column two. I'm just going to cut the deck for column three. There we go. Okay. Right, I'm going to go to column three first. We've got the Pilgrim. Now, the Pilgrim, it is a public act. It's an act out in the world, isn't it, a pilgrim? Because you can't be a pilgrim and stay at home. A pilgrim takes a journey. And when you take a journey, you're out in the world. And that really does bring me back to this Knight of Wands. That's the only way I'm seeing this now, because otherwise it's kind of not really at home here. And how funny I should say that, because when you take a journey, you're not at home, are you? So there's growth here, there's expansion. And it is card number 20, which is Judgment in the tarot. Anyway, I'm going to go to column one now. Okay, we've got the mountains. Something seemingly insurmountable that's making you feel really, really alone, feeling vulnerable, but also, you know, having the capacity to cross to the other side, because there ain't no other option. I'm sorry, that's what I'm getting off it. There's no option. What you want, or what is there for you, is on the other side of that mountain. All right. And in the heart of you, you know that. And that's this figure here in this lovely, like, warm, I guess. I mean, it looks warm. I guess if it was on fire, he'd have his arms up and he'd be running. You know this deep in your heart. And there's a kind of hump to be like got over. Not an obstacle necessarily, but it's a hell of a journey, and it's a journey only you can do. You know, only you can let go of this binary thinking of, you know, either everything's great or everything's shit. Only you can get over that. And I think you do. You see here in the Eight of Cups, I think you do. And I think it changes your life in a way that is not just sort of inner. It's not just like cognitive or intellectual and emotional and possibly psychological. It changes your life on a much wider level than that, even in terms of sort of where you are physically. Yeah, and, you know, Pilgrim, you're moving towards something and you've got a higher purpose. You've got a purpose for that movement. Oh my gosh. Okay. The Mother. Right, the first thing that's coming to my mind here And I might just say this briefly and then move on. And I'm going to show you something now. That's amazing. This might be this sort of binary, like all or nothing, black and white thinking, which often accompanies sort of magical thinking, which, I mean, black and white thinking, like all or nothing thinking, is a very sort of tempting thing for people who have had some sort of trauma to use as a kind of approach to life. You're either in or you're out. You know, you're either good or you're bad. I mean, you might jump from one to the other sometimes, but whichever one you're in at the time, you are all that. There's a kind of consuming sort of simplicity about that kind of binary thinking. And this might have been something that has come down the maternal line to you. There are other ways, Knight of Cups here, to engage emotionally and to experience, as in the Temperance card here, the synthesis of stillness and movement. Really beautiful. Now, what I wanted to show you, while I was setting this up, this new desk here, I went looking for a few trinkets and I found this. This is a real pearl that was a gift. Well, it was a gift from my ex-husband. It belonged to his mother. And there it is, look, you see? There's the pearl. And the pearl doesn't come easily. The pearl comes with, the pearl is born of sort of gritty, grindy sort of work, and smoothing and smoothing and smoothing. There's a lot of work gone into this, but I think there's a wider journey to go on. And the pilgrimage of this more open, less binary, more dynamic, more sort of quantum than binary, the expansion into that is over that mountain. And that will be yet another layer of whatever the word is for the beautiful pearly stuff that the oyster coats the bit of grit with. I can't remember what it's called. Leave it in the comments. So there we go. I'm going to leave that there for you, Cancer. And the pearl somehow really goes well with that for me as well, that this is your reading, Cancer. So that's lovely. Listen, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully see you again soon. Bye-bye.